This week on the Movie Podcast, we're talking about our most anticipated films of 2023.
And there's no better way to celebrate the movies than with Layered Butter.
Layered Butter publishes limited edition collectible books and merchandise inspired by the world of film. Each issue highlights different filmmakers like Tarantino, Nolan, and their latest, Studio Ghibli, with amazing artwork and unforgettable articles.
Head over to layeredbutter.com/store and use promo code TMP10 for your exclusive 10% discount.
Hello and welcome to the Movie Podcast. This is the podcast all about movies. We're talking about TV shows, entertainment, video games. You're in the right place. My name is Shahbaz. I am one of your hosts. And of course, joining alongside me, looking fresh to death, I would say, as these two gentlemen are dead inside and probably dead on the outside as well. Daniel and Anthony. Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm dead. I'm dead inside and outside. So thank you very
Yes.
much for noticing, Shay.
Oh,
Thank
well, you know, I always notice the dead.
Okay, that's good. Do you see the dead as well?
I see dead people, all the time. Is that a movie reference?
Okay.
Who knows? Stay tuned to the ending of this episode to find out if it is. And I'm also joined by Anthony. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you doing well? Because you seem sniffly. Because I feel like
You know what?
I might have
had
given the two of you my cold.
No,
I'm happy. I'm happy about that.
I'm luckily
Are
not
you?
sick.
We'll get you
Yeah,
back, man. Don't worry.
You
We'll
guys
get you
are
back.
the sickos right now. You guys got, I don't know, gingivitis or something like that going on. I have unfortunate allergies today. Yeah, I was all fine, and then I was in the bathroom, and something triggered my nose, and all of a sudden I was sneezing like 18 times in a row. So midway through this episode, I'll probably be back to normal.
Shay is the only person I know that has allergies in the winter.
I mean, this is like the first time I've had them.
Yeah, you're the first person I know that has had them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, which is why it's not seasonal allergies. It's something that triggered it. Man, I know that you're sick. Maybe your brain's got.
I'm not
mucus covered in it
sick
right now.
anymore. I am 100% back. I can't wait to talk about 2023 upcoming movies, Last of Us, the latest Oscar
the
nominations,
vaccines that I need.
the
okay, I'm sure.
vaccines. Can't wait to talk about those. What else?
Yeah.
Manscaped. Can't wait to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Anything else? I don't want to know. Anyways, well, we might have heard at the top of the show, we had a lovely ad from our friends over at Layered Butter. So please definitely go check them out. All that information is going to be down below. But you know what else is going to be down below? More and more information. That's definitely some required reading, I'd say, because every single Monday you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast. And make sure throughout the week that you also check out our show because we have interviews, reviews that drop out of nowhere as well. If you're following us at the Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you already know that then because you've been staying up to date, and we love that. Make sure you're following us on YouTube as well because you can probably see us on there right now. Our main episodes typically don't have video of us, but because these two gentlemen over here have, I think, what is it, swine flu you guys got? What was it?
I think you said it was gingivitis. Yeah, gingivitis of the sinuses. Yes.
Yeah. So we're all recording a little bit remotely today. So hello. You can probably see us, and we're waving at you right now with our faces. And Daniel's doing both hands. Oh wow, Anthony too. I'll do both hands as well. I just did one.
There you go.
I feel like one of those like plane people.
You mean like a stewardess?
Flight attendant?
No, those guys that are on the track and they wave the plane into the lane.
Oh,
I don't know what
yes.
what are they called? What's their designation?
I don't know what their role is. No,
Plane.
but air traffic controller maybe.
Well, isn't that the person upstairs?
That's God, I believe.
Yeah, it is God.
Yeah.
Also, Shay, did you just call them stewardesses? What year are you in right now, by the way?
Well, listen, I'm in the 50s.
Are you flying in the 1950s?
You guys still smoke on planes, right? I just want to confirm.
Yeah, clearly. That must be what's giving you allergies this morning.
Yeah, the smoking, probably, yeah. No, I've heard them still referred that. I don't know what, I think air flight attendants.
Flight attendant, yeah.
Flight attendants, yeah. Whatever is politically correct, and I'm obviously not trying to be an asshole about it, so there we go. Of course, you can also follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And give us 5 stars if you can. That'd be great. Leave a comment if that app allows you to, because we love reading those out as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment here as well of what movies you're looking forward to, because our topic of the show is all about that, 2023 movies. We have a lot of great news to cover as well. Daniel, do you have any other announcements or need-to-knows that we, need to know?
That's a great question, Shay. You mentioned a lot of them at the top of the show already. We had our wonderful, ad at the top of the show from Layered Butter. We'll also be having a Manscaped ad running later on in the show too. We've been loving our Manscaped products so far. I'm rocking the Manscaped shirt right now, so look forward to our little ad for Manscaped. After news, we're going to be figuring out the best spots to place these ads. So obviously, give us your feedback as well too, and also use our promo code MoviePod so you can get 20% off and free shipping because it's worth it. We're believers. We're believers in the Manscaped brand. So yeah, that's all I got really.
Definitely a believer. I was not. I was not a believer in the beginning. I was like, okay, cool. Like everyone is talking about Manscaped, and then my God, was I wrong? And I'm so happy to be wrong as well. Like thank God I found something.
Yeah, no, they're great, and also like episode wise, we have lots of great episodes out on the feed right now. So if you want to go check out our interview with the cast and creators behind Shrinking, you could do that. Darby and the Dead, Infinity Pool, and obviously, of course, we have our Last of Us episodes. There's a new one out right now for episode 3. How amazing was episode 3 of The Last of Us last night? We're
Oh,
going to talk all about it in that episode, so go listen to that.
no spoilers, but it was blank. That's how
Oh,
non-spoiler I'm going with this episode right
I thought you were going to be like it was to die for.
now. Oh,
Even then,
It's each episode, right? Really, to die for.
it is. It really is.
They're
It
all
really
dead
is.
at the end of it.
okay. Let's talk about some news then. We haven't done the news jingle in quite some time virtually, and it's never gone well. So, can we do it today? Let's find out. And let's jump into the news. Yeah, no, I'm not. Anthony, you did 40 extra.
Anthony was
dues there.
adding a couple extra dues.
No,
Yeah,
man.
were you a sonar? I'm
So
just
here's the
gonna
thing,
figure out.
Daniel, he's like, and then you're like,
What would I do? I
and
was
I'm
like,
"Do-do-do-do-do-do-do." So I'm right and you're wrong, both of
Uh-huh.
you.
Yeah,
It's your
I mean, we have the footage. I'm also looking at the waveforms
do,
down there.
yeah.
Anthony, you're just all twos. I don't know how. It's not even waveforms. It just literally says do 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 do. I'd love to talk more about that, but let's talk about some of these Oscar nominations. The Oscar nominations came out on last Tuesday, and Riz Ahmed and who else was it that presented with him?
Allison Williams.
Allison Williams. Yeah, so they presented these nominations, and I feel like, I mean, with every Oscars that we kind of get into, uh, there's always a level of just insanity that kind of comes out after them. People kind of go all over the place. They're like, this wasn't nominated. I'm not vindicated anymore. So let's kind of go through some of the major ones here, and I would love to get your guys' opinion on them. Let's talk about the first major one here is actor in a leading role. We've got Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Brendan Fraser, Paul Mescal, and Bill Nye. Any standouts there? Any surprises? Anything that made you guys go like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Daniel, I'll start with you.
I think seeing Bill Nye and Paul Mescal, like even though they've been huge performances this year, it's nice seeing them nominated. And I think After Sun being the one that people were really hoping Paul was going to sneak in for. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting because I could see it going either way really this year. I feel like Brendan Fraser for the long time has been the person that a lot of people want to win, but when it comes to the Oscars, anything can happen. So I could see it going either way this year when it comes to the leading role.
You see, I'm hearing a lot of people actually say more about Austin Butler, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes his way either. I mean, he did walk away with the Golden Globe, so sometimes that is like a path of trajectory of where the Oscars might go. Again, we're not Oscar pundits or award pundits at all, so we're just kind of giving you our take on it. Anthony, what about you? What did you think for the actor in a leading role?
I would say like Paul Mescal and Bill Nye being the two surprises, especially because I haven't watched those films. But yeah, like they weren't talked about that much, and I think Paul had like this real push to get nominated, and he's been shown across like a lot of news feeds and all that. So it is surprising, but it's not. The Oscars I like to look at these nominations as these are the front runners throughout the whole award season, but like those two being so unique, yeah, it's between Brendan and Austin. I'm gonna say Brendan is the clear favorite, but Austin did win his Golden Globe. We'll see what happens. These Oscars, you know how I feel about the awards. I'm not particularly fond of them.
Yeah, we're not really like I said, award guys, but I mean, at the end of the day, like it is something that does keep our industry moving forward, and we're part of it. So we love to we love to acknowledge all these things as well. And of course, I really wanted to go to Brendan, because I mean, first of all, phenomenal performance, and just give the man his flowers. I think it's about due time. Let's talk about some
Definitely.
actor in a supporting role. We've got Brendan Gleeson, Brian Tyree Henry, Judd Hirsch, Barry Keoghan, Ki Hui Kwan as well. So I'm a little like I was so confused when I saw Judd Hirsch there. It kind of gave me that. Oh my goodness, why am I blanking out on his name now? Who had like a
William
2 minute
Hurt.
William Hurt, sorry, who had like 5 minutes in a movie. Judd Hirsch, one scene and really one small little monologue. I think barely if that. So I was a little surprised to see
It's
his
more
name
than
there.
just a monologue, though. I mean, like that monologue sold it, but he's in a couple scenes in that movie.
I would say he's like in 10 minutes or 5 minutes of a
Yeah,
sequence.
yeah. So
Yeah.
not a lot of that movie.
No, not a huge screen time, but he's still like I think him getting nominated it was also a nice surprise because I'm like
It was a nice
he
surprise.
came
I was
in and
just
ate that
surprised
movie,
though.
like
I was surprised. I mean, I love Judd Hirsch, so I have no issues with that. I was just really surprised. Like, oh, okay, cool. That's interesting.
When I saw his performance, it was great, but like it's not Oscar worthy, and that's where a lot of these supporting acting, a lot of these awards are just like, yeah, it's not they didn't do the best of that year. Even
Right.
Barry Keoghan, who, yeah, he was great, but like, is he that actor in a supporting role? Not really. He's not
Mm-hmm.
I'm
in it
trying
a
to think
lot.
though who else is missing from here because we also know like when it comes to these roles as well too, a lot of them will fall from whatever movies within the best picture race, right? So like Barry Keoghan has a great performance in Banshees. It's not long. Judd Hirsch has about 8 minutes of screen time in Fablemans from what I'm looking up, but I guess it's impactful enough for people to remember it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me here, the front runner is going to be Key because, well,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, what a phenomenal performance, and I think he really was a supporting role in that film. And as for me, when I think about that, that is like the whole movie. That's the supporting role there that they're supporting. So
yeah.
yeah,
But they could have even like I mean, it wouldn't have made sense, but like he's in that movie enough to like to be the male lead in that movie,
absolutely, absolutely.
So
But it
I would
is
they
again,
do what they need to do, right?
yeah.
I would say Paul Dano was a better supporting
Oh,
role in Fablemans
hands
than,
down.
Surprised.
and
Or the
also like
Batman.
Surprised he wasn't here.
for the Batman too. Like I think he had an opportunity with the Batman as well, but
Yeah.
they're not gonna. Right now, it seems like the awards are kind of like in between three films, which is the Banshees of Inisherin, the Fablemans, and the one from Germany, which is
All Quiet on the Western
All
Front.
Quiet on the
All
Western
Quiet.
Front.
Yeah, so it's those three films that are kind of like. Oh, and then sorry, four, Everything Everywhere All at Once, being the biggest.
Yeah.
So it's in that realm. Those are like the four big films of the year this year. But the Batman, Paul Dano did a fantastic job playing the Riddler. Why wouldn't he get?
Oh, yeah.
Why not get nominated?
Yeah.
He's
God forbid.
never been nominated, like in his life.
Well, I
That's
don't
crazy.
know. I don't know that.
No, like he's never been
Oh, wow.
nominated. Paul Dano's never been nominated for an Oscar.
And he's literally had some of the best performances that I've ever seen. You look back at even Little Miss Sunshine all the way till now. Like he's always been not even a secret ingredient. He's been a main ingredient, for these movies to really pop.
And he's never been nominated, which is wild to me. And he's
Wild.
been in such massive films. He's never been nominated once.
Wild. Well,
Crazy.
let's get into actress in the leading role here. We have Kate Blanchett for Tar, Anna de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for Leslie, Michelle Williams, The Fablemans, Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, here I'm going to be honest. I want to see Michelle Yeoh walk out of there holding that beautiful Oscar trophy.
And she will. She
Anthony,
will.
Yeah, what do you think?
They're great nominees. I know I haven't watched Tar, but I know Kate Blanchett is always going to be great in whatever she does.
Right.
I watched Blonde, and Ana de Armas playing Marilyn was fantastic, but I know a lot of people did not like that movie, so there's a little bit of like this hatred for how she portrayed Marilyn Monroe. But again, she was acting, and it was based off a book, and there's a lot of things that went into that making of that movie. We're going to talk about Andrea soon, so we'll leave that later. Michelle Williams,
Yes.
for sure. Michelle Yeoh, like I would, out of all these, I think Michelle Yeoh is the biggest, and maybe Ana de Armas, because I thought her performance was fantastic as Marilyn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Michelle Yeoh would be the clear front winner for it.
Yeah. Daniel, you're the same in this category?
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh, I think is a lock for this at this point. But yeah, everyone. I've seen a lot of people upset that Michelle Williams is here as well. because you either like her performance or you like adamantly hate her performance in Fablemans, which is interesting. So,
It's interesting. Yeah,
what can you do?
I've definitely been hearing that too. Like it's there's no one that's kind of like looking at Michelle's performance in Fablemans and going, yeah, that was good. Most people were like, oh my god, what was that? Or oh my god, that was amazing. But you know what? I mean, it's clearly people recognized it and they enjoyed it. So here we are. And talking about actress in a supporting role, we've got Angela Bassett, Hong Chow, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Stephanie Hsu. I'm a little surprised by Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's again phenomenal in the film, but I would have preferred Stephanie to be the one kind of being that actress in the supporting role for this movie. I mean, Hong Chow is phenomenal in The Whale. Carrie Condon is great, but Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever, like that still gives me chills. So
I think Angela is a clear front runner for this. I think she's just cleaned up in every award show so far this year. Yeah, I'm with you too, Shay. Like Jamie Lee Curtis, she's great in Everything Everywhere, but it's Stephanie Hsu who owned that movie. Jamie Lee being here is just like, yeah, cool, but yeah, Stephanie is the one who I'm thinking about from that movie, and
Absolutely.
Hong Chow obviously, because I feel like having two performances from Everything Everywhere, it's going to split the vote there.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Angela Bassett, I think, just having a clear pathway to the Oscar, but Hong Chow would be a great surprise as well because she's so good in The Whale.
Hong could have gotten like a split nomination as well for The Menu because I loved her in The Menu also. So I mean, I'm kind of here for both performances she did.
I kind of wish they did that, you know, like
That'd be
I forget
cool.
what award show does that, but like you look at like, so like we look at someone like Paul Dano last year, right?
Right.
It's like this guy put in two incredible performances last year,
But
and then get
recognized for one. I
for
mean, like it's interesting because again, in both performances, like you said, Daniel did a phenomenal job. So it's like, why not
Yep.
kind of maybe that makes him too powerful. Who knows?
Yeah, this is Angela Bassett year, I would say. Everyone out, get out of her way. Everyone in her way, get out of her way.
Just steamrolls through all the way through them. Quickly, I want to jump over to directing here. You know, we've got Martin McDonough for McDonough, sorry, for The Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Ostlund for Triangle of Sadness. Daniel, as one of the Daniels, what do you think of this nomination?
I will never vote against another Daniel, so it's clear that the Daniels are going to win this. I'm also surprised again. Like I watched Tar. Tar was good. It was fine. It's not what I'm going to be thinking about. So seeing Todd Fields here for directing, it's just like okay, cool. Again, like the ones that I'm surprised out here are like I'm not surprised here is obviously the Daniels, Martin McDonough, Spielberg being here, but Triangle of Sadness and Tar being here is surprising. A lot of people are happy about that, and if you're happy about that, great. I can't really speak to Triangle of Sadness. I've not watched it yet, but Tar being there, I was just like, okay, interesting. Not what I'm thinking about direction wise, especially when you have like, I don't know, like again, not to keep bringing up the Batman, Shay, I keep seeing your shirt, but like when you think about like what Matt
That's why I
Reeves had
put
to
it here.
do, you think about what James Cameron did last year with like The Way of Water and literally coming out with a sequel 14 years later to a film that you know is now fourth all time again. It's like I thought Cameron would have been here because like that is a huge movie to direct and to not get recognized for that. I also, if it was more of a loved film, I could have seen Babylon, Damien Chazelle here, or even Jordan Peele for Nope, because I think those are just two incredibly directed films. And it's a shame that Nope has zero nominations.
I'm Daniel. I'm right there with you because
Yeah.
I'm looking at this list and really all I want is the Daniels to kind of win because everyone else I'm like, yeah, sure, but like you had the opportunity to, like you said, nominate people who did a phenomenal job. But this is kind of why we're not so much in love with these award shows where it's like, well, if the movie's too mainstream, then guess what? We don't want to acknowledge it, and it's just bizarre in my opinion. Like I just don't get it.
We expected these guys to be there, but just based on all the other acting awards that have been given out. I'm just surprised Christopher Nolan. Why did I say Christopher Nolan? James Cameron not being there.
He got nominated for Tenet this year.
Yeah.
He's,
or Baz Luhrmann. Like Elvis is everywhere.
Yeah,
How is Baz
what?
Luhrmann not here?
James Cameron,
What?
Baz Luhrmann, especially James Cameron, because he spent like 10 years making this film. 10 years. And like he's not like one of those sit down directors. Like he shoots a lot of his stuff. He's involved with everything. And not to honor that, I feel like it's like a very disrespectful year for James Cameron. I feel like people don't want him to be acknowledged. And I just don't understand that. It's especially with
I
his,
mean, he's there for Best Picture, but like still, like
he's
director,
not winning.
like,
You know he's not going to win Best Picture, but like,
yeah,
but at least get his name on there. He has was it 4 movies, 3 movies, 3 movies,
3 movies out of the top 5.
5. That's like a Guinness Book of Records, right? Like, come on,
100%.
give him something.
But
But
again,
then
people
that's
who are in this don't care about that stuff.
they don't, and that's where I'm like, this is where the Oscars is that pretentious, elitist bullshit award that at the end of it means nothing.
I know that we've talked about, and I think closer to the Oscars, we're definitely kind of get into this. Is talking about those Oscar winning films that really haven't left an impact. You think about really what do these awards kind of do, and people right from the beginning of the year, and we see it with Sundance all the time, where it's like, if this movie doesn't win an Oscar, I will burn down everyone's house. And it's like, why does that have to be like, why do you need a movie to win an award to be the vindication that it's a good movie? Like,
right.
I love a lot of movies, and they can win absolutely no awards, and at the end of the day, I love them the same.
Look at Joseph Kosinski. He didn't get nominated. He has the second biggest
Wild
film
again
this
wild.
year, or we'll say of last year, because Way of Water has been between. But
Right.
I'm gonna give Top Gun 2022 because it was from beginning to end.
Yeah.
It brought people back to
It
the
owned that
theaters.
year.
It brought people. It owned the summer, and not to get nominated. And I'm not shitting on any other director, but Banshees. That's such a forgettable film, dude. Like, you never go back and say, yeah, Banshees was a great movie. Like, I don't even know what they're saying half the time. You get a really, really, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's
yeah.
But I think Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I get what you're saying.
Is
I get what you're
so-
saying, because there's defining films.
It's
there
so
are
good,
defining
and
films
it's-
that people will always remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Everything Everywhere All at Once is the shoe-in. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert.
Shiner, yeah.
They did a fantastic job. Gave us something that we haven't seen before. It's one of those movies that you'll see and played in montages for the rest of your life. So 100%. Fablemans,
Right.
cool. I don't think, like, Steven Spielberg being there.
First
get
time
it.
nominated too, which is crazy.
Steven Spielberg
Just
is
kidding.
Steven Spielberg. So I get it. It's the politics.
Yeah.
You're not going to nominate me, Steven Spielberg,
Yeah.
about a movie about me? Are you for real? I'm like,
Wait,
well,
is that your impression again? It's changed
Is-
every year, Anthony.
is it?
But they also think about the people who are nominated are the people that are going to show up, and then that also ties into ratings. So it's like there's a lot of that. I think that yes or no may go into these
Right.
thoughts as well too, right?
But let's quickly go over to our best picture. We got a stack list here, and I think there's going to be a lot of conversation on this part. So let's talk about All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun: Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. For me personally, I want Everything Everywhere All at Once to take Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Solid list. Again, I think All Quiet on the Western Front being one that was nominated in every category basically this year is a big surprise for a lot of people, or maybe not if you're kind of paying attention to the more worldwide scene of films, because this one's coming out of Germany, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Right. It's nice seeing Avatar here. It's nice seeing obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I think is going to win Best Picture, and I think it should win Best Picture. Top Gun being here makes me so happy to see. It'd be so cool to see that win too. I wouldn't be upset either way. Give Tom Cruise his
Seeing
Oscar,
Tom
'cause,
Cruise on that stage,
do you think he's going to be there that night? Do you think Tom Cruise is going to be at the Oscars?
he's gonna rappel in. He's gonna break the ceiling of the Dolby
Yeah.
Theater and just smash right in and be like, "I'm here."
He gave one of the best opening monologues at the Oscars. This was like the year after 9/11, and he gave a speech about like the love of movies, and obviously no one better to say that than him. But yeah, I mean, Top Gun, amazing to see. Surprises in this category. Again, I'm not a Tar hater, but like I'm not a hate-tar, but
I think you're a hater.
I'm not. Tar's fine.
Dude,
Tar
this guy's
Tar
a
was okay. Tar's an.
hater.
Daniel,
You
show
guys
us your
haven't
tattoo.
seen it. You guys have to
Show
watch
us your
it first.
tattoo.
You
I'm a
guys
hater.
it's an added to the queue. Added to the queue. But
It's
like
added-
it's like okay, cool. And then I'm like, man, like it's in Best Picture. Interesting. Triangle of Sadness and Woman Talking, 2 films that I need to see. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a solid list. But again, there's so many amazing films that came out last year that aren't here.
I'm gonna say Top Gun. I'm gonna try to manifest it because I think that film was the talk of 2022, and I think it deserves its praise, and the Academy won't give it to them. It's nice to see women talking too. I haven't watched it, but I know that there was a lot of, you know, talk about how Sarah Polley was nominated for Best Director and how the whole category is just full of men. And like there was an opportunity there, and I feel like again, I don't know how everything works in this world of the academies. There's such a vague list of how people categorize and how people pick films, and there's never really like a clear answer of like this is how we choose movies and this is how it works and all that. I wish they had a YouTube video for it.
There's
But
going to be like someone yelling at us right now, literally going like, "Well, this is the reason why it's happening that way." Because I'm right there with you, Anthony. I think if you're nominated for Best Picture, you're probably a pretty damn good director to make that Best Picture. So why not get nominated for Best Director?
You'd think.
yeah, there's a lot of
You'd
things
think.
that go into it, right? So
Yeah.
the Fablemans being there, I don't think it made a lot of money to be Best Picture, but hey, it's Steven Spielberg,
Right.
And I don't have anything against Steven Spielberg. I feel like that I'm just making myself into like this.
You're a hater of Steven Spielberg.
But even
It's
like
okay.
Tar, like how much did Tar make? How much money did Tar make?
But that's just again, that's
Yeah,
not.
I
how
don't
they
even
do
think
it,
it made
right?
enough money
A movie
to
could
tar
make 5
a road.
cents.
No, but like,
Oh.
but not even talking about money wise, because
Yeah.
Tar made $7 million.
More than I've made.
But I'm trying to think like with Tar was a fine movie, but I'm just surprised it's in the Best Director, Best Picture category, because I'm like, there's nothing about it that when I finished watching it, I'm like, yeah, this was good. There's good moments in this film that I was just like, this is going to be, I'm holding this up to the best of this year, and I'm like,
Right.
but that again, that's just my opinion, but it's just like that's wild to me. That's
Yeah.
wild to see that.
I mean, some more Oscar news here. Let's jump into something Oscar related as well, because Anthony, you did allude to it. The Film Academy is conducting a review amid questions about Andrea Riseborough's campaigns. Come from Scott Feinberg of the Hollywood Reporter. They're from Boston, I believe. That's why the accent. No, they're not. Without directly naming Andrea Riseborough, whose unexpected Best Actress Oscar nomination on Tuesday for the indie to Leslie has sparked widespread conversation and questions about the grassroots campaign that led up to it. The Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, in a statement issued Friday, appeared to acknowledge that it is looking into the matter. The statement in its entirety is, it is the Academy's goal to ensure that the awards competition is conducted in a fair and ethical manner. We are committed to ensuring an inclusive awards process. We are conducting a review of the campaign procedures around this year's nominees to ensure that no guidelines were violated and to inform us whether changes to the guidelines may be needed in a new era of social media and digital communication. We have confidence in the integrity of our nomination and voting procedures and support genuine grassroots campaigns for outstanding performances. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. I think they're getting the government involved. Who knows who else is getting
Dude, I thought they were calling the FBI at one point.
I think
This poor woman.
I'm being investigated too. Like, poor woman indeed. Anthony, give us your thoughts on what this is all about. I mean, this is crazy. I know you and Daniel have brought this to our attention in the group chat, so please.
Yeah, I think I was the first to report it back in December.
Breaking
You
news,
reported
yeah.
it first.
I reported this, yes, and I think it was Kate Winslet who was talking about her performance, Andrew's performance, in to Leslie, and how powerful it was, and it was one of the greatest performances. But now you learn about how she got there, and it was this grassroots, where the producer of this movie, I guess, is connected to people who are in the industry, and there is a group of people, and there's the same names pretty much everywhere, that have been promoting her as this, or promoting her performance as this amazing performance. So, here we are. Here she gets nominated. Andrea is now nominated, and people, I guess, are questioning how it became or how this happened. And this all goes back to what I said before. I don't know how awards, like how actors and actresses pick performances. Do they just put a name on a card and say, okay, this is
I think it's
who
in a
I think?
hat. I believe they
Or
put
like
the names
it's-
in a hat and they just pick it out.
Yeah, and to Leslie, it didn't make a lot of money. I think it made like $27,000. It had a very low budget, so it didn't have the money to actually be produced into an awards type of film, and didn't have enough money to actually campaign for her. So the campaigning was done by, I'm friends with this person. Maybe they can spread the word. They'll watch the movie. I don't think it's like a fake nomination. And I think that's what people are alluding to is like, oh,
Right.
did they actually watch the movie? Did they feel like this was actually a really good performance? I haven't watched it, but I know a lot of people. And I don't know why, but I trust Kate Winslet when she says, like, no, this is a really great performance and she should be nominated and it should be up there. Then why not? I feel like the Academy Awards is a corrupt organization all in all, and how they deal with their business. Just we don't see things behind the scenes, and they'll have like this little script of, oh, this is the guideline of yada 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 yada, but we don't know what really is happening behind the scenes because they're a private organization. You get you get people paying money to get their names on that. They pay celebrities or this and that. It's like it's a
I've
lot
been
of
paying
conflict of interest, especially with the Academy Awards, especially
I've
with
been
their
paying for years to get us nominated for best podcast, and they keep saying we don't have that as a category. So stop giving us money, but also thank you for the money. So I mean, here's hoping next year, guys. Here's hoping next year.
This is
we get
going to
nominated.
Steven Spielberg. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best podcast of the year, and we're nominated, the only one nominated, and we still lose for some reason.
We lose to the
Yeah.
Fablemans.
It was a draw. What? It was a draw with who?
It was a draw, but here at the Academy, when we have a draw, we give it to nobody. Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's just irony in this whole statement. That's how I look at it.
I just feel like the Academy also feels a little upset that somebody beat them at their own game. You know what I mean?
It
at the end
does
of the day,
sound
it's
like that, right?
that these are the systems that you guys put in place. How is what she was doing different than any other big studio pumping millions of dollars into sending out, big PR things and sending and having screenings and having these people go do talks and you know what I mean? So like I'm just curious to how what she was doing is different than having a studio do it, because at the end of the day, people didn't have to vote for her. You know what I mean? They did. So I don't really understand where the issue lies with all of this, but I'm curious to see what's going to come of all of this. I don't think they're going to take the nomination away from her, but it's also just very interesting that we're in this situation now. But this is also what's the Academy, kind of allows to happen because of the way their systems are set up. So if someone is taking advantage, it's because they are taking advantage of the cards or the hands that they are dealt at this point, right? If this movie was never given any attention before, now it is because of all of this that's happening with it. So at the end of the day, even if she doesn't win, the attention that's coming to this movie now, the people who are going out and going to be watching this movie and seeing her performance, that movie's coming out on top now.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like in those movies when the underdog tries to get in the campaign or whatever it is, and they're like, "How did you sneak past all of our guards? Oh, dang it!" And now we got to look into it. So, yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. I'm in the same boat as you guys. I think they're not going to really take away her nomination. I think they're just going to keep it, and maybe they'll adjust whatever their guidelines are that we've never seen for what the social era looks like. Because I mean, nowadays, if someone wants to start campaigning on Instagram or Twitter, let them. Get them on Letterboxd. Who cares? Like, just don't make it difficult. Like,
it's just interesting though. It's interesting because it's like, oh, where do you draw the line? Like, you're okay with studios spending millions of dollars on billboards and parties and like, even because I remember too, like, and this is one of a million stories, but I remember Elton John having like these giant parties, inviting people to his house to have private concerts and getting Rocket Man recognition and stuff like that, right? So I don't understand where it's like, where's the line? Where's the ethical line of like, oh, we can't have this done, but that's
the kickback. It's a mafia, It's a mafia.
You know all about that, right, Anthony?
Well, let's just say I know a little bit about it, but like, yeah, it's a kickback, and there must be some sort of kickback that they didn't get, and they're annoyed. And you're right, Daniel. It's like, you went over our heads. Excuse me, you don't go over our heads, and there's a lot of politics behind it. I don't know much about.
It's a lot of politics.
I can't speak on it because I don't know what lives in this world. But you just have this feeling that whatever's happening is such a clusterfuck of shit that's been growing for the past 100 years, however they've been around.
Support for the Movie Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who have trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MoviePod at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, That's about 14 million balls.
You know what I didn't know I needed, but I needed is an LED light on my shaver.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
there is darkness, especially around that area. It works so well. You can really pinpoint all the hairs, and you're like, okay, I got this point, because hair kind of like starts to mesh, and you really don't see it properly. But with this LED light, it's super bright, and you can get everything precision cut.
It's a 4000K LED spotlight, so you are literally putting a spotlight to your genitals down there to make sure you're treating them as you should.
The skin safe proprietary technology that they use for the lawnmower is really good. Like I was always a little hesitant going down there, and then I felt safe. I felt like there was protection there.
Manscaped just makes it so easy to choose a tool, whatever you're using, be it the beard trimmer, the lawnmower, the weed whacker, and it just feels like there is like this accessibility to it that I absolutely love.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MoviePod at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code MoviePod. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job at Manscaped.
Your balls will thank you.
Your balls will thank you.
Your balls will thank you. Well, you know what? In some non-Oscar-y news, or if it was an alternate universe, this movie would have not been nominated for an Oscar because it would have been a Sony film that wasn't going to do too hot, I think, at that time. The Last of Us has been renewed for season 2 by HBO as the premiere hits 22 viewers. It said 22 people, I believe. No, 22 million viewers. This comes from James Hibbard of also The Hollywood Reporter. You know, maybe him and Scott were writing these articles together. Not a surprise, but certainly making a victory for HBO. The Last of Us has been renewed for a second season. The apocalyptic drama starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey has been a smash hit out of the gate. The series scored 97% positive reviews among critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Whoever those 3% were that gave it a negative review, I need to have a word with them. Its premiere episode earlier this month was HBO's second most watched series debut in a decade and has since climbed to 22 million viewers across all platforms. Last Sunday's second episode jumped 22% in the overnight ratings compared to the premiere across HBO and HBO Max. I'm humbled, honored, and frankly overwhelmed that so many people have tuned in and connected with our retelling of Joel and Ellie's journey, said executive producer Neil Druckmann. The collaboration with Craig Mazin, our incredible cast and crew, and HBO exceeded my already high expectations. Now, we have the absolute pleasure of being able to do it again with Season 2. There's no official word yet on the creative plan for Season 2, but in the Hollywood Reporter's recent cover story, showrunners Druckmann and Mazin hinted that the show wouldn't waste time before delving into the storyline of the Last of Us Part 2 video game. I don't like filler, as Mazin put it. And he's also not from Boston, but everyone that I want to imitate, I'll do a little Boston accent for them.
It sounded like a little bit like Sylvester Stallone as well too.
I don't like filler.
I don't like filler.
I don't like filler. Anthony, you like filler. Tell us all about your thoughts on this nomination. I'm so sorry, on this renewal for season 2.
Yeah, you knew it was going to happen. Like, just the numbers that they've been getting, it was a matter of time before they got their second season. And yeah, well warranted. They've done a fantastic job. People love it. It's opened up this world to a lot of people, and yeah, I'm excited to see what the second season is. I just hope the interesting part of part 2 or the second season of Last of Us is that you don't want to get too ahead of it, because it's going to eventually become ahead of the game. The game takes so much more time to build, unless they've been building The Last of Us Season 3 and we just don't know it, or the third game. But I would love to see, and I know Mazin says I don't like filler. Well, we the audience loves filler, and I think there's a little bit of a story there for us to kind of talk about and to dive into before we get into part 2, because part 2 is 5 years apart, unless they're going to wait 5 years for the second. And get Bella Ramsey a little bit more mature looking, because she's such a.
Yeah. Bella Ramsey is the age now that Ellie is in part 2, which is interesting, right? Because it's 4 years. Yeah, 4 years.
It's interesting because you also have to wonder. I mean, again, part 2 as the game is massive. Like it part one looks like a short epilogue compared to how big part two is. There's a lot of
Yep.
story in there. You also have a lot of time jumps that occur in part two as well. You know, you get a lot of flashbacks here and there that are, I believe personally, integral to the storytelling that you kind of need. So you got to wonder, like, how are they going to do that as Bella gets older? Do they have they already filmed some stuff? Are they going to film some stuff really quickly that they need? Are they going to use some sort of performance capture? Who knows? I mean, the way technology kind of works today, anything is possible. But I am curious. I would love some filler. I also believe wholeheartedly that season two would need, or at least if they're making part two as season two, you got to make that 2 seasons alone because there's a lot of stuff in there. You can't fit that into 10 to 12 episodes. It's just not possible. And I feel like maybe it is, but you are sacrificing a lot.
The Last of Us is probably one of the most beloved things that has released this year. It's the thing that I'm seeing the most people celebrate this year, which is amazing. And it feels a lot like when the first game came out. But now comes part two, which we all adore. We think, like, I'm speaking for myself now. Like,
No, we all
it
adore
is
it.
a masterpiece. I adore it. I know it's the same with you guys too, but like, it's a controversial game when it comes to where the story goes. So I'm curious, what is that going to look like? What is the support for the show going to look like? Is it going to be any easier on the show? Is it going to be any harder on the show? Like, for fans going into this, now you're opening it up just out of the game audience. You're now opening it up to the massive general audience that is watching the show. How are they going to respond to those events? And obviously, we don't have to get into any spoilers for that, but it's going to be really interesting to see that. I cannot wait to see what comes next because I adore part two, but I think it's going to be it's going to be pretty difficult for a lot of people to get into it that way.
Yeah.
But I do know that if anything, what this HBO adaptation has shown us is that they are going to expand it in different ways too. So I could easily see them shooting seasons 2 and 3 back to back if they wanted to, because part 2 really should be over the course of 2, even 3 seasons if they want to, because there's so much story there. I don't think they should try and tell it all in one season.
Would you be okay if the series starts to not overshadow, but like in terms of terms of timeline to go past the game itself, and where we
Interesting.
like how they do it with Game of Thrones. The books are
Right.
still being written because the game ends in a certain point, and we still have I'm pretty sure this is going to probably go on for 3 or 4 or 5 seasons. Can you see the series going past the game's stop point? Because games take so much longer. They do
take so much longer, but I don't think that's when it comes to, I think they'll either expand it in different ways, or maybe they'll have like a in between season where it's like, oh, this, I think seasons 2 and 3 are going to focus on part 2 of The Last of Us. Maybe season 4 will be like a faction spin-off show that they do where it's like, let's develop the wolves, or let's develop the Seraphites, or let's kind of expand this world, and then they'll come back for seasons 4 and 5 of whatever part 3 of the game is going to be, which I do think will release within the next 3 years, because I can't see them not capitalizing and releasing a new Last of Us game within the next 3 years now that the IP is as hot as it's ever been.
For anyone wondering what wolves and Seraphites are, they are in part 2. So yeah, hang on to your hats for that.
Thank you for clarifying that.
No worries. I want The Last of Us Part 2. I love that game. I absolutely love that game. I don't care what anyone says. And I really want a 2-season arc really of that game because you need it. There's just so much story in it. Like, you cannot condense it. There were points where even we thought, the first game might be 2 seasons. Like, will it end where it actually ends? Like, there's even potential for them to stretch that out. But for part 2, you definitely need to kind of go and stretch it as much as possible.
Make sure you're listening to our Last of Us recap. Shay's doing an amazing job hosting and kind of guiding us through each episode each week. So go listen to those. Go watch those. We're having a great time with that.
We're having a great time. And if you watched episode 3, you know how amazing episode 3 was. Please, please, please let us know what you thought of it as well. Let's jump into some trailers. We've got 3 trailers that we've got kind of here that we can talk about. One of them is pretty old. We didn't get a chance to talk about it on the last episode, but we should talk about it. The first one let's talk about is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. We finally got our second trailer to Shazam. Not a hot trailer for me personally. I wasn't too big on it. I love David Sandberg. I love where the first Shazam movie went. But something about this trailer just didn't do it for me. I'm not sure if it was just the way that it kind of really focused on one moment it looked like in the movie and then kept showing us too much of that.
Yeah, this trailer didn't do it for me either, Shay. Like, it just looked too. I don't know what it is. Like, there was too much of a sheen to it. I know
Definitely.
effects aren't done and everything like that, but it just feels like at this point Warner Brothers is like, let's just get this movie out. And again, I think this movie will still be good. I think it'll still be a great time, but it doesn't have like a look of polish to it yet. And I think because the sequences we kept getting in this trailer felt like the exact same moment, even the ending of it, where it's like he's flying at that whatever dragon, and then it cuts, and then it continues the sequence. And I'm like, wait, why are we still here? Like, that should have been where it cut. You're now revealing way too much of this movie.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. I think it's what they chose to show, and I think with a movie like Shazam, hold back a little bit. Like, if there are these big moments, I get the CG's probably done for the bigger moments, but like, just work on giving us a good tease to get people excited. Like, this movie's still 2 months away, so I feel like I've seen a lot of the key moments already.
It feels like they showed us like the final boss fight as
Yeah.
what it looked like the major moment in the movie.
Everything that we've have had in the past year, especially with James Gunn and WB and all that stuff, I watch it and I'm like, does this even like?
Yeah.
Why should I
get
care? Why should I care about this film? And I know it's
We're just
probably
waiting
gonna
for
be
what's next now.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a good time, but it's like you're investing all this time into this film that will not lead to anything. So, and I know we shouldn't look at movies that way, but with comic book movies and comic book characters, there's a big emphasis on continuity and continuality. I don't even know if that's a word, but
I was gonna say, I'm like, you said it so
But just
confidently.
for
Is
these,
that a word?
I don't know, but for these characters to continue because that's how the comic world works. I watch it and yeah, it looks cool. Like, I don't know if I'm super interested in the villain that Shazam has, and I think
It's like generic monsters again. Like, and I think that
Exactly.
was the problem with the first movie, where it's like,
Yeah.
you have Mark Strong, who's always like going to be the villain, and then you have like these CG monsters that he's fighting, and it's like, oh look, it's more CG monsters in this, and it's like, why wasn't Black Adam in this movie?
right, and
He didn't have a good movie. I think that's what happened, Daniel.
I think this speaks a lot about comic book films and superhero films, because I feel the same way a lot of times with Marvel stuff. Even with like Ant-Man trailer, like I thought it was a good trailer, but then I look at it, it's just like, I don't know. I just we had Endgame, which was fantastic, and that was like the pinnacle of the superhero franchise movie, big extravaganza. Can they make it up again? Can DC do their own versions? And I'm just like, maybe I'm tired of comic book movies, and I like reading the comic books now. Like, I know you can't win or lose with the audience. It's either you're making them happy or if you're not. But yeah, that's how I feel about this Shazam: Fury of the Gods. It'll probably be a good time. I'm gonna watch it with my best friends. So
Who are you taking?
Daniel and Shay.
Oh,
Daniel.
You have friends named Daniel and Shay too? That's a
weird.
weird coincidence.
yeah, it's weird.
That's a really weird coincidence.
I would
I'm
love
gonna
to meet
Shazam-
them. To be honest,
I would love to Shazam you guys, but now you're not really
like
making me.
we're not songs though. You can't listen to. We're not songs. You can't figure out what.
No,
we're
we'd
we'd be like the
You know what I
Shazam League?
mean? I was gonna give you powers, but now you get 0 powers.
Yeah, but
You're my
you'd be the
villains.
evil one though. You'd be you. Yeah,
No.
you know you're the villain, man. You're the CGI monster. The next trailer that we have here is We Have a Ghost, which I believe is a sequel to We Bought a Zoo. No, this is the movie starring Anthony Mackie and David Harbour. It's coming to Netflix from the director of Freaky. I watched this trailer and I don't know. I mean, it could be good. I've heard it's good, but I did not like this trailer. I did not like how David Harbour looked, the CG of his ghostliness. Not
I think
a
it's the
fan
same
personally.
CG that did from Thor: Love and Thunder of Heimdall's kid.
Dude, that is 100. You nailed it. That is 100
Spot on, right?
Spot
Yeah.
on what it looked.
I saw it. I'm like, hold on a second. Where did I see this before?
It is.
Oh, he's in the Asgardian afterlife over here.
And also, for some reason, and again, maybe obviously this is just a trailer or so. They're not showing us everything, duh. And unlike Shazam: Fear the Gods, but David Harbour's character in this trailer cannot talk. Like he doesn't speak. One thing I love about David Harbour is him talking. He is that's like shutting up Deadpool. It doesn't make any sense. Why would a movie do
Yeah.
that? So David
Why would
Harbour
they ever do
not
that?
being able to speak is kind of weird. It's like, why is he the character that doesn't know how to talk? Okay, it's kind of bizarre. Anthony, did you watch the trailer?
No, I didn't, but I did see like screen captures of it, and it reminded me, just based on the pictures, it reminded me of Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, just the way the
Yeah.
ghosts look.
Or Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby?
You were Ghost Dad. Let's not talk about Bill
Yeah.
Cosby.
No.
But
Used to watch a
yeah,
movie
it
all
just
the time
looks
growing up, though.
like
Ghost Dad.
what era are we living in? Like
And
that's
Yeah.
how I looked at it. Like
I
what?
really liked Freaky. Like I think Freaky was a really fun movie, and this kind of has that same like, oh, we're mixing horror with comedy kind of genre. Like we're blurring the lines between them.
Right.
But just something about it didn't do it for me, and I hope I'm wrong. I mean, Netflix will. We luckily have Netflix, so we've already paid for this movie, like Anthony always says. So we'll probably find out more about it. Next trailer we'll go into is Scream 6. I really, really dug this trailer. I'm really looking forward to this movie. We've had most of the cast already on our show. Devin Dakota,
Seriously.
Josh Segura, and Jack Champion as well. So, I mean, who are we missing? I think I got everyone that we had on the show so far, right? Yeah. Daniel, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
Can't wait. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be strange not having like oh my god, why am I
Nev
blanking on her
Campbell?
name now? Nev Campbell, not part of it, but it's nice seeing other cast members coming back from other films and blending with the new cast. And I also think Ghostface looks the most like scary in this film for some reason.
He looks
because
rugged.
they look like
He
they
looks
look
gritty,
rugged, but
like New
also
York.
like it's a New York Ghostface.
He's
So
a
they're
mechanic.
gonna go and but he also looks like they also look like brutal, like the way they like the way it fights.
Use
like
the
it looks
shotgun.
like a lot more, It's like,
They
oh,
used
it's
this
scary.
Ghostface uses a shotgun. That's really cool. I
Yep.
like that. I like I mean, they've used garage doors before, so I'm totally okay with whatever weapons they want to use. Everyone, for some reason, has an affinity that you can only use a knife. Man, let him kill the way he wants. They want to kill. Okay?
He's not a killer with a code or a conscience.
Or she.
Like
He's just a killer.
They just kill.
This is a killer.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this
Anthony-
trailer. I
Yeah,
thought
you
it
too?
was really well done. The thing with Nev Campbell, and I'm a little worried, is Jenna Ortega is now like she's
Massive on the poster.
she's this actress that's on this huge ride, and I feel like she could be the new face of Scream and overshadow Nev Campbell. And I don't know. I know with the whole thing with Nev Campbell not getting paid the same amount of money and all that, but like I can clearly see Jenna Ortega becoming that character for the next 4 or 5 years. She's like I think 21 or 22, so she could be that character for the next 5 Scream films.
It's very, very possible. Out this week, we have 84 Brady and Knock at the Cabin. Knock at the Cabin, we will be having our review out for it. We also, shout out to everyone who entered in our contest for an advanced screening to Knock at the Cabin. If you won, go ahead and check your DMs. Everyone already responded, so I don't know why I'm hinting at it, but everyone was really excited. There wasn't one person that was upset that they won, which is always a great sign. So, and we've been hearing great things about this movie, so I'm really, really stoked to watch this. We also had Rupert Grint on our show, who is in this movie, and he was talking about Servant season 4, and also no big deal, but we had M. Night Shyamalan on our show, who was talking about how he was editing Knock at the Cabin at the same time as he was kind of working on Servant season 4. So, someone pulling double duty like that, and hopefully still going to be cracking out a phenomenal movie. Cannot wait to see what it's all about. Are you guys excited for it?
I am.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great time. February is a great time for horror films. Get
Love
the
and horror
spookies out in the early years.
Yeah, Anthony, you too.
Yeah, based on everyone's reaction, it's nice to see that M. Night has had, because his last film was with Bones. Yeah, Bones. Old. Sorry.
Old Bones.
Old. I just remember
The
the
old Bones.
skeletal
Bone
legs
lady.
on the-
Yeah.
And that was kind of like mixed, and we weren't really happy with it. So I'm excited to see that he has a good film out.
I think old was at least a step in the right direction, even though not everything worked for me. I think there were some things where I was like, oh, there's potential here to make a really good movie. So I'm really excited that Knock at the Cabin is gonna hopefully bring us full circle here. Let's talk about what we're watching. Let's go with I'll start off with mine really quick because I've got a really, really long list here. Abbott Elementary, watching season 2, absolutely loving it. Obviously, Last of Us HBO, it's got me wanting to play Last of Us Part 2, and I'm kind of powering through that. we watched Infinity Pool. Our review is out for that as well. Pamela, a Love Story, a documentary that will be coming to Netflix tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Monday, directed by Ryan White. Tomorrow Never Dies, because I was in a really like Michelle Yeoh kind of mood, which then spawned a mood of James Bond for me. So then I watched The World Is Not Enough, and then I went and skipped GoldenEye, and I skipped Die Another Day, and I went right to Casino Royale because I love Casino Royale. But speaking of GoldenEye, I did start playing that on the Switch as it's out. Very mixed feelings on that. I know, Daniel, you did send a video on how to change the controls, so I'm going to look into that because the controls are pretty rough.
It makes a world of a difference.
It
like,
does.
You could play it like Anthony did it too. Like it's like playing it how you would play a modern shooter.
Thank
now,
God.
so
Okay,
definitely
I can't wait to go ahead and do that. And I've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso, and Shrinking is out, and obviously our Sundance movies, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Daniel, what have you been watching, man?
You know, it's been an interesting week. It hasn't been anything too crazy. You know, Ted Lasso I've been rewatching just because you got that new season announcement. Shrinking, which is out now, the first 2 episodes. Like you guys, I also watched Pamela, a Love Story, which we'll talk about later this week because we were also lucky enough to speak to the director. Shay and Anthony were lucky enough to speak to the director of it, so we'll release that later this week with our thoughts, and then obviously the interview as well too. We watched a lot of different Sundance movies, which we'll have a Sundance specific episode 2 coming out very, very soon, so look forward to all of that. And yeah, because I've been sick the last couple of days, I've just been putting on a bunch of random comfort movies. So I've just been kind of just jumping between different things on Disney Plus and
It's always fun.
All that fun stuff.
That's the only good thing about being sick is comfort movies, because I feel like that's really what's healing you, not the medication.
What's medicine? I don't believe in medicine.
You're not a believer in medicine, right? I believe
No.
you are all grassroots for you. Literally, the roots of the grass.
It's just all grass. I just eat grass.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it's winter, so there's no grass right now.
Not much grass out there, yeah. But thanks to Manscaped, you've been able to... No, I'm just kidding. Anthony, what about you? What have you been watching and listening to and jamming out with?
I started watching The Bear. I haven't finished the season, but enjoying The Bear. Really, really, it's fast paced and its intensity is really, really up my alley in terms of TV series. I really like it. Infinity Pool, Pamela, Love Story. I put on the first 4 episodes of Poker Face, which I'm enjoying. Starring Natasha Lyonne. She has such a unique voice, and you kind of gravitate to her characters because of her voice. She has this oldie, like 70s, 80s. She just raspiness.
Yeah,
but she plays like this.
She reminds me that she would work in in the bullpen of like the Daily Planet in 1970.
She reminds me of Estelle from Friends.
Yeah,
Joey Tribbiani.
But yeah, her character is really cool. She has like this. I'm not gonna say it's a power, but like this intuition of I know when someone's bullshitting, and she becomes this unlikely detective on her journey through trying to escape something that's happened to her in the first episode. But I really enjoy it. Like I think it's written or created by Ryan Johnson, which is really big, and the first 2 episodes are directed by him as well. Put on Abbott Elementary. I started watching that. I caught up to all the way up to season 2. Really, really enjoy it. It's kind of like that Office vibe that it but in a school. But the one thing that I really like about it is how they portray teachers and just like the hard work. And I think that's something unique about the show that you don't see a lot of, is they really cherish people who are teachers.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really nice. And it has like this down to earth humor, and I think that's where kind of like I like this show.
It's a great show.
GoldenEye for Switch. Yeah, I was in the same boat. I couldn't play it for the first 20-30 minutes, and Daniel showed me the video on how to change the controls, and holy shit, the game is so much better. And now I wonder why I was so dizzy growing up playing these games. I'm like, yeah, maybe this is that controller was not
we tried playing it, man. Like Shay and I tried playing it, and it's just like that first night, because you could do online now too, which is awesome. Like you could play against your friends, but like the fact that the control sticks were flipped around, and then the buttons were like I saw people like switching Joy-Cons, so like they would have like
I don't even know how we
played
it, Daniel. I don't know how we played it.
I can never go back to it. So literally, you could set a preset within like the controller mapping. So I literally have a GoldenEye preset now that I just click on both Joy-Cons. I'll do it, and then when I'm done, I hit reset, and then I'm back to normal. Because like
that's
I hope they put a patch out for it. Because like
they need
you can't play it that way. You cannot play it that way.
Anthony, I'll look at your thoughts really quickly before we jump into our topic of the show here. You know, Ao Edbiri was just cast in the Thunderbolts movie as well, and she's phenomenal in The
Hmm.
Bear. What do you think about
She's
that?
such an outstanding actress. Like I gravitate to her character right away because
Yeah,
she has this presence, especially in this series. I haven't seen her. I haven't seen all of her other stuff, but like her character in this in the Bear,
she's so good in The
so
Bear.
good and so demanding, and she's so committed to having this kitchen work, and she wants it to happen. And the
Yeah,
drive, she really knocks it out of the park.
absolutely. Parks are being knocked. Let's jump into our topic of the show, which is our most anticipated films for 2023. I had the honor last year of hosting that episode as well, and the way we did it, which unanimously, according to all the results that we got back, everyone loved how we did it. You know, people were saying that we should get nominated for this episode. It's just my opinion on this one as well. But we went through each month, kind of listed some movies, and didn't just kind of gave like a looking forward to it, not looking forward to it, and really not much else to it. Just kind of keeping it very simple, because there's a lot of great movies for this year, and we're already done January. So January, say goodbye to January and say hello to February. And starting with February, of course, we already mentioned 80 for Brady and Knock at the Cabin. I'm definitely looking forward to Knock at the Cabin.
I don't think like we're 80 for Brady. I think is going to be the Top Gun Maverick of 2023.
I believe it's
like this
possible.
movie is just going to.
It's gonna, it's
Could
gonna
be.
No,
be 80,
honestly, I think it's
$80
going to do
billion
well.
dollars.
It could be.
I think it's going to do really well.
Yeah,
All the
starring
grandmas
Tom
are
Brady.
gonna go watch it.
It's coming out at the right time, right before the Super Bowl. I think it's going to do well. But like, so do you want me to give you like, are you going to go week to week, Shay, or do you want to just kind of go February? As
I'm
a
gonna
whole?
I'm gonna go all February, but I wanted to talk about 80 for Brady. That's the only reason why.
Okay, got you.
But let
Yeah,
me go.
so 80 for Brady, hard to top
Hard to
80 for
top.
Brady for sure.
But let's talk about all of February here. So we got, like I said, Knock at the Cabin. We have Your Place or Mine, which is the Reese Witherspoon Ashton Kutcher movie. Sharper with Julianne Moore and Sebastian Stan. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We have Cocaine Bear. We have a Ghost. These are our February films.
Ant-Man is the biggest one I think for this month for me, but I'm also like really excited for Cocaine Bear because that's Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yep.
And I'm also weirdly really excited for the re-release of Titanic because
Oh yeah,
I love
yeah.
Titanic.
February 10th.
That's
can't
also
wait.
this month.
I've seen that movie in theaters every time it's come out. Just James Cameron doesn't miss that movie. But I am a little worried though. You did bring something of an attention on Twitter the other day that they're going to be showing this in high frame rate as well.
There is a high frame rate version of it. I'm hoping that it's not the only way it's showing because I did not like watching Avatar that way. Maybe if it's the whole movie, but it won't be. So I don't even know what Titanic is going to look like if it wasn't shot that way.
But why
So-
high frame rate a movie that was shot in the 90s? Like that's just bizarre.
James Cameron and frame rate's always been interesting. I remember like on the first, I think it was either the first or I think actually it was Terminator 2, that he's like, oh, we're trying to shave down time, so let's remove a frame from every second of the movie, and then just turn into like a jittery mess. So
Yeah.
he's always an interesting guy when it comes to like the technology behind stuff. But
He's
yeah,
almost
February
too
is
smart for it.
yeah, but February though is a surprisingly solid month though.
Solid
movies.
month. Yeah, I'm right there with you with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania and Cocaine Bear as well. Elizabeth Banks directed Cocaine Bear and obviously produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who we are huge fans of on the show. So excited to see what that looks like based on a true story as well. Anthony, what about you? How's
Yeah.
February looking for you?
It's pretty much Ant-Man and the Wasp, and truthfully, it's not like high up there. Like, there's not a lot of February movies I'm looking at this list that are like, whoa. I'm sure Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, because I am a Marvel fan and I love comic books. I'm interested to see what they do with Kang.
All the facts that you just spit out there, I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
Comic fan, you like movies? Wow, weird. Let's jump into March here. March is looking like a really, really good month. We've got
Biggest March I think we've ever had. I think
a very, very long time. You're absolutely right,
Yeah.
Daniel. We're starting it off very, very strong as well with Creed 3, the directorial debut of Mr. Michael Jordan from the Chicago Bulls. No, sorry, Michael B. Jordan of Creed fame. He will be directing and starring Jonathan Majors as well. Jonathan Majors is going from destroying Ant-Man probably in Ant-Man and Quantumania to destroying Michael B. Jordan in Creed 3 because he's just 0% body fat in that movie. It's crazy.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, and then we jump over to Luther the Fallen Son on Netflix, followed also by Scream 6. We then have 65, the Adam Driver, starring vehicle a man who is transported into the past 65 million years ago. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, John Wick Chapter 4, Dungeons and Dragons, Murder Mystery Part 2, or Murder Mystery 2 as well. Anthony, what about you? What are you looking forward to in March?
I am super excited for John Wick 4, and I think there's a lot of excitement because it's going to lead into, you know, Ana de Armas's version of that world and
Ballerina.
The ballerina. We also have Creed 3. I haven't watched Creed 2, so I got to watch Creed 2 and then get into Creed 3, but the trailer looks fantastic. Jonathan Majors is a beast in this movie, and he looks like someone who just works well with Michael B. Jordan's character, and just having this dynamic between the two of past friends who one went to jail for and now it's out, and let's have a match, about a boxing match that, you know, to end all the squabble. But
who would win in a fight, you or Jonathan Majors?
Probably Majors right now.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm a pretty
right
good
now.
boxer. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty good boxer. So I would say if you gave me the time frame, I could.
How many rounds did you go?
Probably like 6, 7, for sure.
Okay.
Because a lot of boxing is like, is to hit, or that's how we interpret boxing. We got to hit. But my kind of boxing is defense. Get out of the way, like Floyd Mayweather. Get out of the way, get him tired, and then bam, right at the
old bah,
the back. Like, you remember the Homer Simpson episode where he gets like just continuously hit, and then he just his opponent just falls down of tiredness. Yeah. That's not me though. Like, I don't like.
That's okay. Good. I was gonna say.
Scream, huge. I think Scream, Creed 3, and John Wick 4 are my biggest 3 of March.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I've got Creed, Scream 6. Did you say Scream 4, by the way?
I think I just said Scream.
Okay, good.
Did I say Scream 4?
I don't remember now. I feel like you did, but I could be wrong. Maybe you want to go watch Scream 4. Who knows? Because, I mean, you know, Hayden Panettiere is in Scream 4, and she's going to be in Scream 6. So maybe that makes sense why you said that. Maybe you didn't.
It's all
looking forward to, 65 as well. I think anytime you have a dinosaur in a movie, I'm right there. The 6-year-old in me comes right out and just loves dinosaurs. I still love dinosaurs to this day, so I'm here for it. John Wick Chapter 4, I'm kind of cautiously excited for it. I think it has everything that I want to see, but John Wick Chapter 3 for me was just kind of repetitive. It didn't hit it out of the park for me. I enjoyed it, but it didn't make me go like, oh, I can't wait to see where they go next with this. One on there that I really want to be good, and I don't think it will, but I really hope I'm wrong, is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, because the directing team behind that is, you know, they did Game Night, which is one of my favorite comedies. So I really, really hope that we get something there. But Daniel, what about you? What are your thoughts on March?
March is interesting because it's like every single week we have a major film releasing, and sometimes we have 2 major studio films releasing. Creed 3, I love this franchise. The first Creed film is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is a perfect movie for me. The second one is still good. It has some great moments in it, but I don't think it lived up to what the first one was. Obviously Scream, cannot wait for that. We spoke about it. 65, I'm weirdly excited about it too. Something about Adam Driver and dinosaurs, I'm just like, just give it to me. Fingers crossed Shazam is good. I'm in the same boat with John Wick. I think it's going to look beautiful. I think it's going to be a fun movie, but is it just more of the same? And for the 4th outing in this, it's like you want this to still feel fresh. Fingers crossed on Dungeons and Dragons. The trailers, again, it feels like a trailer that we would have gone for a movie like in 2012 with like R.I.P.D. or something like that. Like, it kind of has that vibe to it. I'm hoping we're wrong. I'm hoping it's a great time. I have faith in the directing team. I like the cast of this movie, but nothing that's been kind of sold of it so far is exciting me. But we'll see what happens.
No, I'm right there with you. Let's jump over to April, though. April,
the most important month,
notoriously known as the worst month since 1993.
I hate this month so much.
And I don't know why since that year, but I believe, Daniel, it's your birthday that month?
It is my birthday. It is a big birthday month for me this year. And
yeah,
my
you're
gift
turning the big 15, I believe, right?
The big 15. No, and my gift this year is one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given, and it's the Super Mario Brothers movie. So
I hope you don't get to watch it.
Yeah, I hope for
Why
some
do you
reason
hope these things?
when you're in the
Do you
theater.
hope I die?
No.
See, you extreme Daniel, always
extreme
Daniel.
Since '93.
Oh, Extreme Daniel's back.
I'm just saying, like, every time you try to watch it, something happens and you can't watch it.
But you're gonna be there with me though.
Yeah,
What's
but
the
they
problem?
but they give us special glasses to see the film, and they don't give them to you.
Why isn't this technology for everybody?
James Cameron produced it. That's why.
Oh my goodness!
But let's talk about April here. Obviously, starting off the month on a big note here is the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which looks so good. Like it looks too good to be true in a way. Like I'm just still looking
It
at
does.
it like, how is this possible? We then go over to Renfield with Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. The vampire movie that they got coming out. One that I'm really looking forward to here is Beau is Afraid. This is coming from Ari Aster starring Joaquin Phoenix. That trailer, it did it for me so hard, and I love Ari Aster. I've loved Hereditary. I loved Midsummer, so I'm really excited to see what he does with Beau is Afraid. We also then jump over to The Covenant, which I don't think we've seen really too much about, but starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Anthony Starr from Homelander as in The Boys. And then, of course, Anthony, I'm not surprised if you're looking forward to this one, but Evil Dead Rise is there as well. And yeah, that pretty much kind of sums up April for us.
There's no other movie this month except for the Mario Brothers movie. So thank you.
I'm right there with you.
There's also Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is the same director.
Oh,
that
yes.
did
Tweety
Edge
Bloom.
of 17. I like that film, and the trailer was really well done. So big April, I guess. There's a lot of films I guess, Beau is Afraid looks super interesting, and I'll watch it with you guys.
I love that trailer for Beau is Afraid. I think it was such a well-made trailer.
The Pope's Exorcist is interesting. We haven't gotten a real look at it. It's with Russell Crowe. I love The Exorcist, but every single Exorcist since the first one has just been bleh. So
we're hopefully on a
to...
trajectory though of good horror movies now. I think there's a lot more paying attention that they're doing.
Maybe the Pope, and could it be that the Pope gets
exorcised?
That'd be really cool. Like, who would have thought the Pope being the
possessed,
the guy who's possessed, and he's running the Catholic Church
and running for mayor of Gotham City. Anything's possible.
Wow. He's doing a lot.
It's a lot of work he's doing. Man, I'm looking at these months right now, and I'm like, damn, every month is just goodbye wallet, because there's a good, interesting film coming out every month right now. And starting May, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Love this trailer. An emotional powerhouse. James Gunn's outing of the MCU as well, and most likely the outing of a lot of these characters for the Guardians. The
way you're saying outing is like they got in trouble for something. By the way,
they were outed.
Like,
yes.
they've been outed as
they've been
being
outed.
this.
Yeah,
it's like their final performance or
they
final.
were part of the Ottawa convoy, I believe.
Oh no, man.
Unfortunate. And then we're gonna jump over to Fast X or Fast 10. Fasten your seatbelts. This is coming out in the pretty much closer to the end of May. Then we have The Little Mermaid. This movie has been in the works for years, it feels like. We got our first trailer last year. I was really impressed by that trailer because it looks so damn cool. My worry here is, so far none of the Disney live action remakes have really been able to captivate me. I mean, Jungle Book aside, I think that was a great film, but I haven't really gone back to it since it kind of came out. So while I did enjoy it, Jungle Book was never that amazing, in terms of the whole Disney archive. I never really
necessity, right?
Book. It was a bare necessity, I believe.
But
Anthony,
I also think what helped
with
Jungle Book is it was so animal driven.
It was
like
very
you had
animal
one
driven.
human character, but now it's like you're gonna have a whole cast of people. So this should be interesting. Guardians is number one for me for sure. Looking forward to that. I'm curious what Fast 10 is going to even be. We should be getting our trailer for that. I think the next couple weeks.
I'm gonna assume Super Bowl
trailer for sure, and then obviously Little Mermaid because I think Halle Bailey's going to do a great job as Ariel.
The Little Mermaid, again, I hate the live action Disney remakes. I think the animation is what should be of these characters and these iconic characters. But I think that with what's happening with the Little Mermaid and how the changes that they've put in place, I think this will be a big film, and I'm super interested to see where it goes. I haven't watched The Little Mermaid since I was probably like 8 or 10. It's one of those films that you
yourself.
Don't. Right.
Merman.
Little Merman. But other than that, me, even though with the Guardians of the Galaxy, May doesn't seem big, which is like, I thought there would be more movies, but I feel like Disney has a lot of these weekends, so they don't want to like contra-
I feel like people are trying
conflict
to
with
stay away
themselves.
from Guardians and Fast 10 as well, being
Yeah,
like the
Yeah.
culmination of that franchise as well. You want to kind of stay out of their way. And plus, from May, you're really going into June, and June is stacked. And June, we I've been hearing good things about this movie, and we're getting a trailer very soon for the Boogeyman. If we haven't gotten it already, I might be confused. And then we're jumping over to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, Extraction 2, The Flash, Elemental, Asteroid City, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny. So yeah, really, really big month. Daniel, what are you looking forward to the most of June?
For June, honestly, Indiana Jones is definitely up there, and then I'm really curious to see what Asteroid City is going to be with Wes Anderson, teaming up with Tom Hanks and Margot Robbie. So looking
What
forward
about
to that.
Spider-Man? You're not looking forward to Across the Spider-Verse?
Spider Verse, I'm just it's one of those movies that I will get excited for it once it's happening because I'm so excited, but I'm scared they're going to delay it again. So I will
Ah,
believe it when I could buy tickets for it, and even
I,
then, it's not even a guarantee because we've been
we
betrayed
bought
before.
tickets and movies have been delayed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna hit this date. I mean, I would really hope so. It does. I feel like we're getting there. What movie that I'm not looking forward to, which I was initially when we heard about it, was Transformers: Rise of the Beast, but that trailer did not do it for me. It was a big
No.
miss on my part. Obviously, I'm very very excited for the Flash because we just got to know. This is my Morbius of this year. We just got to know what this is going to be, how it's going to be, what's going to happen.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse being biggest, but again, is it coming out June 2nd? We'll see. We'll have to wait. I guess the Flash. Again, I'm in the same boat with Shazam, where I don't really care about this character. I just want the rebuild to happen, and this is slowly, you know, having that Snyderverse storyline still intact to this or in connected to this franchise, this DCU is shitty in my opinion. I think they should just scrap everything. But yeah, Indiana Jones. The last one wasn't great, but hopefully this one is.
James Mangold, I trust in James Mangold.
Yeah.
And I mean, that CG, that de aging, phenomenal. Couldn't look any better. Let's jump into July. July is a very interesting month because we start off with Insidious Fear the Dark. Fear the Dark. This is, I believe it's directed by Patrick Wilson, as I recall. This is his directorial debut for the franchise, and the Insidious franchise has been running long. I mean, it runs alongside the Conjuring franchise. I always get them confused sometimes too. I'm gonna skip this one because I know this is the one we're all looking forward to. I mean, again, there's two movies this month or three,
July
four.
is
There's
crazy.
so many
Like
movies this month.
when you look at what July is this year, it's absolutely nuts.
It's nuts. So I'm just gonna say Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and the Marvels. So damn you,
How?
theaters, damn you. But I'm gonna give it to Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I'm sorry, it is the I've never been so feverishly excited for a film to come out. Like I've never been more excited in my life for a movie. I think.
Mission Impossible is the biggest, and then Oppenheimer, and then Barbie, and then the Marvels. But I think Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One is that film where I wish it was on its own for the next couple of months. I just feel like
Yeah,
there's
I
so
know.
many movies after that comes out, and it's I don't know if the Top Gun magic of last year will it happen this year, and I don't think it will. It's just there's too many big films. But
It's way too many happening
Mission
at once.
Mission Impossible, I feel like I want it to come out a little bit later. I just want it to be on its own. I want people to like just spend time with it, because I feel like when you have all these films coming out in the same month, you just don't have time to invest time into it. You're just like, oh, I gotta go
People
to the
don't
next one,
have money to go see
next
all
one,
these
the next
movies
one.
every week,
Yeah,
So it's wild. Like I don't think we've seen a month this stacked. Like obviously March is pretty stacked this year, but this is like heavy hitter after heavy hitter. So if you have Barbie, Oppenheimer, the Marvels, and Mission Impossible all releasing within 2 weeks of each other, I have a feeling that the Marvels is going to get pushed to November. I think that would be a smarter move for it. I know Dune is coming out later this year at some point, but I just think the Marvels opening up at the end of July when you're coming off of a week of Barbie and Oppenheimer and Mission, and um, Indiana Jones is still not even a month old yet. It's like you gotta space these out a little bit.
It gives me
I agree.
it gives me vibes of like 90s summer blockbusters. Like which
Yeah.
we don't have a lot. Like we don't get those a lot. Like it just feels like this is something that's unique to 2023.
And you got to wonder, like, what does the IMAX window look like? Because I mean, Mission Impossible is going to be an IMAX film, and then just the week after, you're going to Oppenheimer, which is also going to be an IMAX movie, and then you go to the Marvels the week after that. So IMAX is going to be definitely pulling a lot of double duty work, maybe, or maybe it's going to be a week each. So who knows what's going to happen? But Daniel, what
Who
are your
knows?
thoughts on July?
July, it's wild. Like Mission Impossible is my most anticipated film this year. It is up there with Oppenheimer and Mario Brothers. Those are like my holy trinity of movies this year. But I want to see every single movie in July, and that's what's kind of crazy. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't understand. Like someone's got to move. Like
Someone's
Barbie and
got to move.
Oppenheimer already opening up with one another is interesting, and then to only have them a week after Mission, and then 2 weeks after Indiana Jones, and then a week before the Marvels doesn't make sense. So there's going to be movement. There has to be, because it makes zero sense for these movies to stay where they are. And what I would love to see happen is Mission Impossible either takes July 28th if the Marvels moves to November, and I think it would give it a lot clearer of a path to make a lot of money in the summer. But
And that's because we're
yeah,
jumping into August here, and August is looking a little dicey, in my opinion, because a lot of these movies also, I don't know if they're going to be actually landing on these dates because we haven't heard much about them, or if anything at
right,
all, really. You look at Meg 2, The Trench, sure. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie with Seth Rogen. Again, we haven't heard anything really about that other than its announcement. We have Gran Turismo, which we got a video about recently, and so that's kind of like the closest we've gotten to that.
yeah,
Then we go into Blue Beetle, which has been in production for quite a while as well, and it's the one movie that didn't make the cut from the Zaslav joining. And then we kind of jump into the untitled "Please Don't Destroy" project, which comes from the great team over at SNL right now. I mean, this they give me the Lonely Island vibe, so I am a little excited for them. I love their shorts online, and I love their shorts on the show. And then we go into Lift, and They Listen. So not really too much to be excited about. I think in August we don't really know too much about it. But Daniel, what
yeah.
about you? What do you think about August?
Yeah. Gran Turismo is pretty much the only thing I'm really thinking of. Blue Beetle was originally going to be an HBO Max film, and then they said, "Hey, let's do this on, let's release this in theaters." So again, we'll see. It's very much in that scenario where, again, I want to love each movie independent of whether it's connected to a universe or not. But I'm also just wondering, where does Blue Beetle fit into anything that's happening right now? So
Yeah, exactly. Anthony, what about yourself?
Yeah, nothing on the list for me. In terms of like really excited. Gran Turismo looks cool. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Uh, I'm super interested in, but I don't know if that date is actually confirmed. Um, yeah, Blue Beetle, sure. Like a
Yeah,
lot of these films, they could be delayed because you don't. They're all to
yep,
be announced essentially. There's nothing really guaranteeing these dates.
yeah.
Uh,
Once
you
we get
haven't
to
seen much
August,
of it
that
either.
exactly. Once we get to August, it gets really kind of dicey in the terms of are these movies gonna stick their landing? And also there's so many movies that haven't been announced yet, and a lot of movies get announced even sometimes now closer to their dates. So when we start jumping
especially
over
with
to
streaming,
September,
right?
exactly,
Yeah,
and when we get to September and we get to the award season, this is where a lot of I'm looking at the September films, which I'm going to name in a few minutes here. This has not a single really award contesting kind of film, which usually is around
hold
this time
on.
of the year.
You're telling me Expendables 4 is going to be up for Best Picture next
It'll be
year? Are
nominated
you
for
crazy?
best explosions, maybe if they make that as a
Oh,
category, but that's probably
maybe.
about it. You have the Equalizer 3, The Nun 2, A Haunting in Venice, Expendables 4, and Next Goal Wins.
That's probably going to be an Oscar movie for sure.
That's the
That's
only
Taika
one that I can think of
Waititi's
because you got Michael
Fassbender film.
Fassbender in it. Anthony, what are you looking forward to, The Nun 2 or Equalizer 3?
Nah, none of those. I'm looking forward to actual movies that are coming out in September. So this list right now is not
It
the
looks a little
list.
dicey.
It looks so, and it's during TIFF too, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
there's going to be a bunch of award type of films that are going to release, especially things that we just don't know. 824 hasn't been on this list at all or a lot this year. I know there's one I think coming out in February,
Well,
but
Bo is afraid, right?
okay, yes, yeah, and there's also the other one, but like I feel like there should be more at this point.
For sure.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I believe Expendables 4 is an A24 movie as well. So I don't know, who could be wrong. But Daniel, what about you? What are you looking forward to? I know you are an Expendables fan. You auditioned to be an Expendables 4, and they said we don't know who you are.
No, why are you here? No, Next Goal Wins is probably my biggest one for September. Really looking forward to that because I miss Michael Fassbender. Like I feel like I haven't seen him act in anything in a long time. So to see him in this and to see him now in the Netflix Fincher film, it's going to be a good fall for Fassbender.
Good fall for Fassbender. Let's jump into October, a great month, probably one of the best months in the year, I'd say. And Anthony and I have no stake in that at all. But starting off
awful
on
movie
October,
month though. Awful movie month.
I would say like if you took all the months, October is the greatest month
in the history
of all
months.
of history. Yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Me and Shay were born in that month, so that's like double greatness.
Surprised. I didn't even know that.
Right. I think it cancels each other out, though. I think that's what happens.
No.
That's what an April person would say. What are you, a Pisces?
Is it?
What are you? Like, what is Daniel's like?
Aries, you piece of shit.
It sounds like a God of War, eh?
Yeah,
yeah,
some
100%.
made up character.
Yeah,
up. What's yours? Are you guys like a goat or some shit?
We're
what are you guys?
We're not even real people.
We're not even to entertain your anger.
Okay, that makes sense.
We are how people should be balanced.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Balanced diet. On my birthday, supposedly, Kraven the Hunter is going to be coming out.
Yeah, that's all you need to know about October.
Are we getting that? Are we getting Kraven the Hunter? What do you guys think? Is this going to happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting a lot of nods.
Sure.
I think
so. It's wild. Like I'm so surprised that we're still going down this route. Is Morbius going to show up in this? Maybe.
I hope so. I hope at the end it's still it's still the Vulture, and he's like, "Hey, let's get the Spider-Man guy I've been hearing about." You know?
I think it has something to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then we jump over to the Exorcist remake, which I believe is directed by David Gordon Green, as I recall.
Yeah. Please don't make it into another Halloween. Just make it.
Isn't this the one that's exclusive to Peacock though?
I don't know. I truly do not.
I swear when this was announced that the first one was going to be a Peacock film.
It's definitely possible. And then we go into Saw 10 and Paw Patrol, the Mighty movie as well. I mean, but the first Paw Patrol movie did really well. It was quite a hit, as I recall. So we'll definitely be closer to the date, talking more about that. Let's jump into November really quickly. November has Dune Part 2, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. Finally, I've been waiting for a sequel. And
Dawn of the Nugget.
Dawn of the Nugget, you know. The Killer, which I am feverishly excited for. A Family Affair, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Trolls 3, and Wish. Really, for me this month, it's going to be The Killer and Dune Part 2. I hope they land their dates. I mean, I think The Killer, well, it's a Netflix movie. Netflix never really typically changes their release dates. They're usually pretty good with that. Dune Part 2, really, really hoping it comes out. I mean, I know they've wrapped filming, so let's see what happens with that. Anthony, what about you? What does November look like for you?
Yeah, it's Dune and The Killer. Those are the two that are on my list. The Killer just looks killer great, just based on the little segments that we saw in that trailer. It has that David Fincher look that we've all been waiting for. You know, his last movie, Mank, wasn't the one that really I know a lot
didn't
of
bring
people
us back,
love, but it was this a unique type of picture for Fincher, and especially because it was written by his father. So I totally understand that. But this is Fincher back at it, and we get the look, we get the premise. It's an assassin. Like, come on, let's do it. And it's Fassbender. Fassbender is, you know, I'm not a big fan of Fassbender, but it's nice to see him back at acting. It's been a while.
He reminds me of you, actually, Fassbender.
How?
I don't know. You both have like the same kind of stoic personalities.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, never mind. I take that back. Daniel, what about you? What are you looking forward to in November?
Dune for sure. Dune and The Killer are the big ones. Really quickly, going back to what we were talking about with The Exorcist in October,
Yes.
the first film is going to be released theatrically,
Oh, okay.
and then the sequels are going to be on Peacock. I remember us reading that story on the movie podcast.
A
My
while
God,
ago.
when was this? This was from 2021, July 2021. I remember us talking about that and being like, that's so weird. It's going to be theaters and then Peacock, but also all of the Halloween films, like Ends and or Kills and Ends,
We're the
debuted
same,
on
right?
Peacock day and date as well too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they changed things up that way.
And I would be surprised also, yeah, exactly, if they kind of if the first one does well and it continues to do well, like will they just move into theatrical only? But let's see what happens. Let's jump into the last month of the year according to a calendar, December, when we have Leave the World Behind, Wonka, the
Are you like a conspiracy theorist against the calendar? By the way,
dude, the
it's the
Earth is
last month of the
flat.
year according to the calendar.
The Earth is flat. What else? What other conspiracy theories are there? Yeah, I don't know. Earth flat for sure, though. Yeah, I've never seen it be round. Let's just say that. Every time I've been on a plane, I'm like, that is a flat Earth. Please, everyone know that I'm joking. The world is not flat. December has Leave the World Behind, Wonka, The Color Purple, the untitled Ghostbusters sequel, and Rebel Moon, and also ending off the year with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Daniel, December, your favorite month as well. What does it look like?
Wonka is 100% up there. I'm excited to see what our boy Timmy is doing, but also
Seashells.
it's crazy to me that Aquaman's still not out yet. Like we got like this is a sequel to a film that came out in 2018, and then people will
2018.
also be like, yeah, but Black Panther also came out in 2018, but we've also gotten like 40 Marvel movies since then.
Yeah.
So it's like it's wild that like this is also going to be, I think, like the last hurrah for a lot of
Well, this is the
these
last
people. Like,
DCEU film, right?
right? I'm assuming it is. Like I don't see it continuing past this year.
No.
So I'm excited. I like the first Aquaman. Like it's a fun movie. I'm excited to see what this is going to do, but it's also that thing where it's like, what does it mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, and
What's it for?
it's funny that it's also coming out just the week after ex DCEU alumni Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, which will be in Netflix, and I would
Yep.
not be surprised if Netflix did a little tiny theatrical release of that film as well. I can totally see them
I believe they will. Yeah.
because Zack Snyder fans will drive to hell to watch that movie in a theater. They'll drive to the moon if they need to.
They'll take a flight to the moon for sure.
They'll take a flight to the moon for sure. Anthony, what about you? What does December look like for you?
Wonka,
Yeah.
probably. There is a movie here that I don't know if it will come out in December, but I know it'll probably come out in 2023. It's Ferrari, directed by Michael Mann, and I think
Right.
Michael Mann hasn't directed in a really long time, and I'm super interested. He has a distinct look, just like David Fincher has his look.
Yes.
Michael Mann has his look, and I think he's one of those at least top 10 directors of all time.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the story of Enzo Ferrari, and Adam Driver's playing Enzo Ferrari, and there's also Penelope Cruz is in it, and it's a huge cast, and I just want to know more about that film, and I hope it comes out December because I feel like it's 100% award category. I think
Yeah.
Driver, he's gone full Enzo on this one, but Michael Mann's
There's
it's been so long since we've seen a film of his. I think the last one being
Was it Black
Yeah.
something?
Hat?
Black Hat?
was it Black
yeah.
Hat?
Yeah, that
And
Black
was,
that
Hat
movie
was the
did
last one,
not do well
2015.
at all.
did not do well.
Wow.
He's
But
done
he's
other
taking
things.
his time. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he-
taking his time. He's been producing, I think.
I read Heat 2, which is a great book, and he was part of that as well. So I just want to see more of Michael Mann be this year in the future.
So the last thing Michael Mann did was he directed Tokyo Vice, which you watched, Anthony.
Yeah,
Right.
really good episode. He only directed what, 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Right.
You could tell it's
And
like Michael Mann.
he's
Good-
an
good
executive
first episode.
producer. He's an EP on Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah.
And then that's all he's done.
Yeah.
And then Black Hat in 2015. Crazy.
I really hope that the Ferrari film, whenever it comes out, it leaves that impression that Ford versus Ferrari did. It just making it very
Yeah.
interesting and exciting. There's a lot of movies, obviously, that we didn't get to cover for 2023 because guess what? They don't have release dates, but they have release windows, maybe. But we're kind of going month by month, and of course, as these lists constantly update, which they will, because man, when I listen to our when we listen to our 2022 films, like again, was still very COVID era at that time. A lot of those movies got pushed, and we had the Super Mario Bros. Movie on that list as well. So
Yep.
here's fingers crossed that we're coming out this year.
Yeah,
Swing
Killers
it.
of the Flower Moon is another one too, right?
Yeah,
That's this year, but
supposed to be coming out this year. A lot of great movies. Cannot wait to talk about them. Anything else you guys want to talk about on our topic of the show?
No, I
no,
think
I'm good,
we
man.
kind of summarized
We covered it all.
2023, and it's going to be a friggin' year of films, that's for sure. And especially
Wild.
the later half of it, because we don't really know what's coming out.
That's what I always look forward to because it's like the mystery months. You know, every month is like, and you get this. Oh, okay, cool. Sounds good.
We
I'll
might
take
have a
it.
movie
Why
coming
not?
out. Who knows?
Don't spoil it, man.
The
Don't
movie
spoil it.
podcast, the movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the True Hollywood story, I believe.
Already,
Oh,
we
God,
have
no.
Yeah. Addicted to drugs, Anthony finally came out on top.
one.
Of course, this is the Movie Podcast, a podcast about movies, TVs, games, entertainment. The world of film is at your fingertips and your ear tips, I believe, is also a term that people use. And that's where you can listen to us. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can give us 5 stars on those apps as well. If you leave us a comment on those apps, we will love to read it out. If you leave us a comment on YouTube, that makes sense. We would love to read it out as well. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube because you can see our lovely faces there, rocking our cool looks. I think we got a cool look going on. If you've been watching our Last of Us breakdowns as well, thank you so much. Let us know what you think about the show. Daniel has been doing his clicker dance so far every episode. So, hey, there it is again. It's coming out. The clicker dance is coming out. But again, you can follow us at the Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. And that was this time with the Movie Podcast.
And we'll see you next.